Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you so much and welcome to What the Hell is Cryptocurrency? It's a talk that and a workshop, essentially. You can call it whatever you want, but really what it is a conversation that was sparked from me talking to Katie and finding out her passion for cryptocurrency and how much she knew. She connected with Anar, and we came up with this concept of just wanting to sit here and ask questions and do things. And that's what we're going to do. Got it. All right. And so back to it. That's what we're here to do. And I have some questions because I am not a cryptocurrency advocate, nor am I a currency expert. I know very, very little. And the very little I know, I made like $1,000. So I think I know something. But really, what I'm excited about most is to hear a different perspective about it, hear, the things, the questions that we formulated together about what actually is cryptocurrency, a way for people to learn its roots, where it come from, the benefits of it, probably a better way of looking at it. And again, not that we're trying to convince people cryptocurrency is the way, but we do want to help them make the most or the best informed decisions that they can with information that's factual, truthful, and not rooted in some type of bias about whatever reason. And so that's what I'm most excited about is to express this information in the most open and free form way that we can have. And so I think it'll probably be best to just start off with introductions and let the two women of the hour and a half introduce themselves, and you can kind of get an idea of just how special they are. I've definitely know Katie as a friend and a colleague, and had very short time of meeting Anar, but it was amazing. It was quick chuckles, quick laughs. Set up our distress calls, and we're good to go now, no matter what. Forever, forever. But I have with me Katie Webster Anar Uddin, and thank you for exploring this topic with me.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Rob.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it.
and I
I'm
think
gonna go.
we just let you go. Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
on
I'll go
you.
first.
Yeah, just introduction. Just let us
I'll
know
go
who you
first.
are and how you came about cryptocurrency, and we go from there.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, I'll speak to one thing that you said right at the beginning, which is this is not financial advice. It is for educational purposes, something that people in our industry are probably, if they had a nickel for every time they said that, they'd be quite wealthy. Because ultimately, nothing that we're going to share with you today is about pushing you into any sort of an investment. It's simply to understand the landscape so that you can make the best informed decision based on your own inner wisdom and the research that you've done. So I will frame it with like that, and then I'll introduce myself. So I'm Katie Webster. I know Rob Cook through the 3P community, just such a beautiful place to come from. And I got excited by cryptocurrency because, to be honest, the world of finance never really like sparked much joy in me. I like to have nice things. I like to have money. I like to give money. I like the flow of abundance from a very kind of spiritual standpoint. But when it came down to like kind of the hard numbers and interacting with banks and accountants, I found it all kind of just like a bit of a joy kill for me. And when I started to hear about what was possible with crypto, it sparked this deep curiosity within me that I knew I had to kind of dig a little bit deeper with, and that I owed it to myself to investigate. And as I learned more, it's like I was getting this warmer feeling. There was more and more interest in me. I loved that same level of interest was being reflected back through the way that people were creating through crypto, the way that the money system was somewhat decentralized, which we'll talk about more later. And it felt like another thing that dovetailed with so many other things that really mattered to me in my life, like the place from which I came, it was aligning. So super exciting. And then in the summer of last year, I met Anar, and she started to mentor me in sort of the real how-tos of crypto. And just through that experience, my passion grew and grew, to the point where now Anar and I are offering super beginner classes for people, to help them understand the cryptoverse. So that's kind of where, where I came from with crypto. I'll hand it over to you, Anar, to kind of share a little bit about your story, and then yeah, we'll just take questions from people and speak to whatever it is that you're curious about.
Yeah, of course. So my story is somewhat similar to Katie's. I grew up in a very culturally limited society where my culture didn't really allow me access to understanding finance, or, even probably I didn't really have my own bank account until the age of 26, which is shocking, I know. A story for another day, but that's when I really got into understanding cryptocurrency. So I bought my first Bitcoin, and then the layers just started there. I was curious to understand how this was built, the structure, the coding, the programming. And from that day on, I decided to look into teaching myself how to code. So it took me, I'm self-taught, it took me about a year and a half to get to where I am today, which is the role of a junior developer for a blockchain company, which I'm very, very, very humble about. And that just completely opened doors for me within the cryptocurrency world. I learned so much from Bitcoin, going on to other sorts of cryptocurrencies, going on to why this helps our current society. And yeah, I'm just really happy that I'm able to share this with others and educate people. And working with Katie has been beautiful. She's given me a different aspect of it, spiritually speaking as well, which is amazing. I really think there's an element of spirituality required when learning finances and investing and risk management. So I'm really grateful to be able to share that with you all, with her.
That's pretty cool. Katie cool like that, ain't she? Ain't she cool like that? Katie cool like that. All right. So here's what we're gonna do real quick. Just because I love interacting with those who come in and join us on these explorations. As I see Ron, Paula, and Lou. If you can, real quick, just introduce yourself and let us know what you're looking to get out of hearing Katie and Anar today as it pertains to cryptocurrency. If you're an expert and we need to know, let us know. If you're new, let us know as that as well. But anything you want to share about what brought you here today. And we'll start with you, Lou, since you got that nice chair over there, that nice gaming chair I see.
Hi, yeah, my name's Lou. I am just here just to watch and just be curious.
Cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Is it LaRon Cook, sir? Is it Mr. Cook? Is that an easy way to
Come on, this is what we doing, man. This is what we doing.
What's up, cuz? How you doing, man? Thank you for being here.
Man. Hey, look, I'm trying to gain knowledge because I know absolutely nothing about Bitcoin. I always hear about it. I hear people talk about it. I want to invest, but I'm clueless about it. So I'm trying to gain just some knowledge at this point to even start to look at it, to see what it's about. So this is actually, I'm actually glad that Rob is hosting it, because that's my avenue to actually dive into it. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. That's my big cousin, y'all. He's been protecting me my whole life. All right. And we did hear from Paula earlier, but Paula, if you want to chime in real quick on why you're here, we'd love to hear it.
We'd love to hear it.
Hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Paula. Sorry, my camera is off because I just took a shower. So yeah, just being honest there. And I'm here because I am really working as well in building my portfolio, and I started to invest in crypto using crypto.com like, let's say, 4 months ago. And I just want to learn more and see. I'm also open to, I know this is, I don't know if how much correlation it has with NFTs as well. So I believe this is going to be the future of the financial industry, like another way of seeing finances. And I love to connect. I love building community. I knew Katie from last year, and I just feel it's perfect to always have conversations about this.
Thank you so
much.
And so that Jazzy's over there in Canada. Jasmine does pretty much all of the moderation and things that I do when I facilitate online programs. And she was excited about this one as well when it popped up. So Jasmine, if you want to share why you're here, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I know nothing. I basically know absolutely nothing. I have a guy I used to work with who like talked about it all the time, but I'm like Rob, I'm not crypto versed.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
not versed. in it.
Nice.
I was just like, okay. But I like, you know, I just wrote blockchain and I wrote coding and I wrote Bitcoin. Those are the three words. Like you're it's like you're talking Chinese, and I'm just interested in finding out what it is. So
I like that. I like that a lot. So
Beautiful.
my experience before I launch into our first question was with Coinbase. So it was an app, and I got the app, and it allowed me to put money in it, and I got to pick through various amounts of cryptocurrency. And so I thought I was doing well. I thought I was doing it. I thought I was in the game. And then much later, one of my friends showed me a hard wallet and told me I was nowhere in play. And that just threw me off. And I learned I knew nothing. And so I just want to start from the very beginning. And the first question I have is, what is cryptocurrency?
Katie, you want to take this?
No, I'm going to let you take it.
Cryptocurrency. Well, in my own words, I think it's a financial asset that is controlled by an individual only, that allows some sort of financial freedom that's not controlled by any third parties, such as banks and, you know, big companies like JP Morgan. And it's also an allocation of transactions that can allow you to transact to whoever you want on a trustworthy blockchain, which is basically a platform and a ledger for you to be able to manage your money with your peers. It's completely controlled by you. Nobody else can touch it. You decide what's to be done with it. It's transparently stated on the blockchain, so there's no manipulation. That is what I would define cryptocurrency as.
Okay.
So I'll tell you why me and Anar work so well. She says a whole bunch of really fancy words, and then I tell you what it means in layman's
Okay.
terms.
Thank you so much. Because I was like, okay, I caught about 3 of those words that I knew what they meant. Everything else I was off on, but okay, good.
So there's a saying that I love in Spanish, and it's hay niveles, which means there are layers or there are levels, you know. And so ultimately cryptocurrency is built on, you know, cryptography and the blockchain, which are, if you wanted to get down and understand those things, they're extremely complex. But in order to just use them and be able to interact with them on a more surface level, you don't need that layer of that super deep layer of understanding. And for me, if I was to sort of convey what I think is the most basic thing that people need to understand about cryptocurrency, I would probably talk a little bit about how it differs from conventional banking. So, you know, and we'll talk about centralized versus decentralized, but something that Anar mentioned is that, you know, it puts a little more power into the hands of the user. So it's basically a new financial way of working in the world that's built on cryptography, which is trustless, versus being built on a bank system, which requires, you know, as we know, the traditional banking systems require people to process transactions. You know, if you're going to send money from one place to the next, someone at the bank needs to literally approve it. There's a fee attached. On the blockchain, it's trustless because everything is done by a computer code that can't be altered by an outside person. So the beauty of cryptocurrency is it puts that power back in the hands of the users. And, you know, something we'll elaborate on more later, it's accessible to a lot more different types of people across the globe because there are less layers of bureaucracy to be able to interact with it. And so one of the things that's really exciting for Anar and I both about cryptocurrency is just how much autonomy, how much sovereignty, and how much power you really have over your own financial goings on or interactings than you do when you work within a centralized system. But with great power comes great responsibility. I couldn't get away without having a Spider-Man quote in here. So, you know, when it does come to decentralized blockchain, you do need, you know, if you're not going to have a centralized entity that's going to be watchdogging it for you, you have to put in the procedures to make sure that your money, that you're investing in a safe way. And so we could come back to kind of what you were talking about with Coinbase. For instance, Coinbase is a centralized exchange.
Yeah.
So it is somewhere where you can keep your crypto, but ultimately it's custodial, which means that the custodian, Coinbase, is holding your crypto for you.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's kind of not like
Which is also holding my money for me too, correct?
Exactly.
If they
We'll
shut
just
down,
hold
my
your
money
bag
shuts
for you.
down. Yeah, we just hold
Yeah.
your bag. That's what I learned with it. That threw me off and why I wanted to deepen my understanding. But in asking that's kind of like, okay, that takes me another one. Go back to the history of it, because I think one of the questions in the chat is Bitcoin cryptocurrency? Yes.
Yeah.
But so go back to the history of how we got here so people can understand that there's 7 different types of cryptocurrencies, and one that's most notable is Bitcoin, but there's several of them. So kind of walk me through the history. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, Anar, why don't you take that one?
Sure. So there was this alien called Satoshi Nakamoto.
I've heard him called a bunch of things, never alien, but okay, got it.
Still, we don't know if he's alive, if he's dead, if he's still roaming the streets. He built Bitcoin. He built it through cryptography, so no one could alter the code, no one can change it, and it became a store of value. So it became this magical internet money that somehow every single person through mass adoption gave value to it. So they decided, we're going to make this currency. And it was the cryptography behind it was built in such a way that no government, no centralized entity was able to alter it. It was frozen and it became a currency. Through that is where entities started building wallets. We started building exchanges to transact Bitcoin on. And the beauty of it is it was only from peer to peer, from me to you. So I could send this to you and nobody else could interfere with that transaction. And from then it just grew into this beautiful thing where it became a currency. Because you have to remember, we are the ones that give things value. Value is driven from humans. And that's the beauty of cryptocurrency. We give it value. It's not an entity. It's not commodities. It's not assets. It's not liabilities. It's us. So that is why Bitcoin is such a pioneer in this industry, and it's really gaining a lot of traction. And that's why I believe in being an advocate for it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, and as I always do, I'll add. So one of the cool, so Bitcoin was ultimately the first cryptocurrency. It sort of is what pioneered cryptocurrency. After Bitcoin was created, that innovation was out there and it inspired others to become innovative in a similar way, but to build more of a use case into their cryptocurrency. So what's kind of amazing about Bitcoin is it really just does one thing. It stores value. You can use it as a currency, you can use it as a store of value. It's also sometimes considered digital property or digital gold, but it's sort of like the big daddy of cryptocurrency. It's the first. It's simple. It just does one thing. It doesn't really have that many other competitors when you think about how long it has existed. Because like anything, the more time something is around, the more historical data is compiled about how it works. So we have the most historical data about how Bitcoin works, whereas a lot of these other cryptocurrencies you may have heard of, like the second biggest cryptocurrency, I believe, is still Ethereum. Yeah, and then there's a number of others, and they kind of vie for like third, fourth, and fifth places. But many of them may end up being the Internet Explorer of the day. They trade places. They're competing for what can they create, what problem can they solve in the world. There's many more layers to those cryptocurrencies, so it just becomes something that then you can do your research into those coins or those ecosystems, things really grow from there. But the thing I think that everyone needs to know about Bitcoin is it's very much a simple single use case cryptocurrency. But within that single use case, it's extremely powerful because of its simplicity and because we use a word trustless a lot in crypto. And the reason why we call it trustless is because it's not up to one or another human being's opinion, their politics, how they're feeling that day. It's written to the code. It's like it mirrors nature. Nature doesn't care if you're having a good day or a bad day. If you walk off a cliff, you're going to fall to the bottom of the cliff. Bitcoin is similar. The code is written in a way where it doesn't care about your feelings. It does what it does, and that's how it works. And that's why we can trust it. So there's a kind of a beauty to that. And that's the beauty of cryptocurrency. But yeah, I guess that's what I would say on Bitcoin. We can get into some of the other cryptocurrencies, but I think there's value depending on what people want to hear, and probably just speaking about them generally. And of course, answering if people have questions as we're going through your questions, Rob, totally happy.
Well, I'm pulling them in from there too, because I'm pretty much got the same questions they have. So I'm kind of incorporating them into, which kind of drives the next question of, in the few minutes we've been on, you've had me feeling very cool and good about it, but I have some type of understanding. It's small, but I have an understanding. If it's great, and it's not a personal question, it's more of just an understanding for education piece. If it's so great, if it does so much, why is there such a fight for it to be adopted or to be put in a way that it would benefit, like you say, people more? And as the question in the thing, whether we think it's a good or not, will it one day be forced upon us? Is that the way currency is going? It's going to replace, our systems as we know it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Anar, I'll let you answer that, and then I'll kind of, we'll dovetail in and out. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my opinion to answer that question is Bitcoin is closely related to a decentralized system, and in this decentralized systems, there's no such thing as force. We cannot, like Katie said, it's like it's nature. So you adopt organically, and as you can see, the market cap of Bitcoin is in the trillions since 2012. Compare that to the stock market, which is completely controlled, right? And it's all through organic mass adoption. So I wouldn't say that it is a currency of force. I would definitely say it's an organic growth. And the more people learn about the utility behind it, and the more people start understanding it, the more organic growth it will create. So will it take over? That is a very difficult question to answer. I'd say it won't take over, but it will definitely have a mass following. It'll be a lot like a cult, and it would definitely be utilized by different countries. I mean, El Salvador, it's its main currency right now, Bitcoin. It's been adopted by the prime minister. So yeah, El Salvador is all Bitcoin, which is beautiful. All these third world countries are rising now through cryptocurrency. And it's given a lot of people a standing, and it's given a lot of people rights and access to a lot of things. So I don't think it'll be a currency of force. I think it'll be a currency of nature.
Love that. And I want you to think about this, because I'll come back to you after we let Katie go. But that's a good point. That's one of the first times I've heard of a positive or inspirational story behind what Bitcoin can do, because I have heard of Silk Roads. And that alters the way that some people see. So I'll come back to you with that question, but I'll go to Katie for you to follow up with that. But great point, Anar, on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is just a great time to mention too, some people may have heard of the Fed wanting to create their own digital currency, like a Fed coin, right? Which would be highly centralized. So we are, I think, going to see in the next year the world moving away from cash, the world moving towards more digital currencies, whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's likely happening. And what's kind of beautiful about Bitcoin is it does still offer people an alternative to that more centralized type of money flow. And it is just very beautiful how like truly and innately inclusive it is, because of the trustless nature of Bitcoin. It does not discriminate. If you even have a smart device and can create a free wallet and can have someone send you 10 cents worth of Bitcoin, you are in the game, which is something that's accessible to people all over the world that simply have a smart device. So it's very exciting in that sense. I don't think that regulators and people in the government really understand the true power of cryptocurrency. I think they see it as this thing that's kind of a mild annoyance to their current system. I don't think that they understand how powerful it is as a grassroots movement. And I think we're going to see a lot of what's possible with Bitcoin over the next couple of years as things start to change. Because just from a very basic economic standpoint, like, we know that the Federal Reserve is neither federal nor does it have any reserves. We know that the dollar is no longer backed by gold. And we know that money printing is something that the government just does as they see fit, and that inflation is at the highest rate that it's ever been at. That it's rising at the highest rate that it's ever risen. And so due to those things, for some of us, it's definitely taking some of our faith in the centralized system, and it's opening up a space to get curious about what else could exist. So, it's a fun exploration. And yeah, so I'll leave that there. I will let Anar speak to the benefits and perils, I guess, of a decentralized currency that isn't controlled by an oversight body.
And I am noticing our new stadium that they just built here in LA. I went to a game with my mentor. No cash. You don't have a debit card, you can't buy. And I pulled out cash because last time I've been to a football game, it's much easier to give them a 20 for your popcorn and your soda. And I got all this cash and was thinking, leave my wallet so I don't lose it, like all of this stuff to protect, and get inside. And it's like, no, we won't take cash. I was like, oh, just here? Or can I go to, like, no, nowhere in. They have a sports shop where you can buy clothes. They have all kind of things you can buy, but nowhere on campus can you use cash. It is all digital currency in a sense. So I think it's something to us shaping that way. And Jasmine has a question too. She couldn't type it, so I'll let her go ahead before we get to Silk Roads. Anar, is that cool?
I really feel dumb. Like, I'm telling you, like, I'm going to dumb this down. Really, okay? So what I'm understanding is cryptocurrency is like a dollar. Like if I had a dollar in my hand, but it's digital. So I could take my dollar and go buy some cryptocurrencies. Like I could go buy some pounds. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so what you guys are saying is that the blockchain is kind of like, because there's nothing that fits in my hand, is kind of like the place where you put it in. Is that it? Am I following it?
You are.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
Really, honestly, like it was like you guys were talking and I was like, wait, you're way too far for me. But now I'm starting to get it, So
and it makes sense though. It makes sense now because there's not something tangible I can hold in my hand, while there must be so much trust in the ledger. Like that now makes sense. Like I don't have to trust as much if I know I got my gold in my hand. It's like, I got my gold, whatever y'all do with it, the gold is in my hand, or my $50 is in my hand. But you're right, if it's digital and I don't know if it's there or not, I have no idea if when I go to sleep at night, my bank takes everything out, do what they need to do and put it back in a couple 8 hours later. I have no clue, right? I have no clue of that. So that's why I love the ledger piece and what you're talking about with the blockchain.
And so now what you guys are talking about, like Bitcoin is kind of like I'm telling you, I'm dumbing this down. Bitcoin is kind of like a pound, right? And now
Right.
there's going to be other cryptocurrencies with their own
Ethereum,
name.
yes,
And
absolutely.
then there's going to be different levels of trust on every level. Okay, see, guys, you made an impact because I'm like, I feel so knowledgeable now. Thank you so much.
You know,
Right.
yeah, and Jasmine, I really actually love that analogy because I guess you could almost imagine cryptocurrency like you were living on a planet and there was a part of the planet that no one had ever explored. And all of a sudden, an explorer goes there and they find an entire country that's living peacefully, and there's through the laws of nature, and there's no government and there's no rules, but everything just works because of some unspoken law. And you want to go to that country, so you have to buy their currency. So you have to trade your dollar for that country's currency. It's very similar. I think the only distinction I would make is a lot of global currencies are simply money, whereas crypto is a store of value, but it also does more. It has a utility. So it's kind of like money that's like money plus, that has like more intelligence built into its essence. But it would be like that. It would be like if we discovered a new country and they had a currency and we decided we wanted to trade with them, we'd have to buy that currency somehow, exchange it, and then we would have that new currency that we could do whatever that currency was capable of. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
Because it's like what you said, but I'm like, maybe I could paint a little picture.
And so, Anar, I'm gonna come back to you with again. It's how humans are. Typically, when we hear something, we begin to judge off that, whatever storyline we hear first. I do apologize. It's like a huge fly in here that keeps hitting me in my ear and everywhere. So I'm sorry about that. But Silk Roads. Okay, so Silk Roads was one of the, yeah, I know, right? It was one of the first things I heard about cryptocurrency. And I heard it from a law enforcement perspective. So it was a case study that we learned in law enforcement. So obviously it was bad because of what happened from it. But can you walk me through the story a little bit so people know what I'm talking about and kind of put a bow on it as to, I mean, we could have done that with cash, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. So Silk Road you can compare to as, let's call it the dark web, right? So an underground, club where dealings go on and you're transacting using cryptocurrency for not so great reasons, yeah, it was amplified. It was for trafficking reasons. It was for criminal drugs and things like that, where people were purchasing using cryptocurrency as Bitcoin. That being said, what people don't understand is when you measure it to the real world, it was only 1% of criminal activity committed. Wherever you go, you're going to have criminal activity. You can't stop that. That is just purely how it works. And Silk Road is, unfortunately that existed. It did and people utilized Bitcoin for that reason, but it was very minimally. And again, to kind of amplify that, it was only 1% of studies. So Silk Road only took up 1% of the crimes committed compared to the 99% that's been ongoing around the whole world. So what my perception and what I'm trying to portray to people is that crime is always going to be there, regardless. You need yin and yang, good and bad, right? You can't have good without bad. But you have to measure the level of bad, and you have to also measure the pros and the cons against one another and see which is more amplified and which is less amplified. So in my eyes, Bitcoin will always be attached to a negative connotation, especially by law enforcement, because people are scared. When people hear new things, they don't like change. We're comfortable, we're humans, we like being comfortable in our regular routine. So when something like Bitcoin comes and disrupts that, disruptive technology, and people can't understand it, they can't fathom it. I mean, this is centuries and centuries of living with a currency, the dollar, and that gets destroyed almost. People, they're like, oh gosh, like they'll demonize the whole thing. So what I'm trying to say is, crime will exist wherever you go, but you have to measure how much good it's doing for the world against how much bad it's doing.
Mic drop. Love that one. Thank you. That was so cool because you're right. We can find any way to make crime happen. So super kudo on that. So let's get into pretty much now. If we got a basis of it, and I hear an undertone of what you both are saying, that's this is money plus, or it's not just a dollar, it's a little bit more. So talk me through the benefits of being, or what good, or where is that value in having or dealing with cryptocurrency? Like, help me understand. Easier way to explain it is whenever I would go to a different country that I had to exchange money in, for some reason, I never could budget it properly. It was almost like Monopoly money. I just spent it at will, and I'd be with one of my teammates, and they'd be like, "Bro, that was like $150." I was like, "What? I didn't convert it right. I didn't know." Like, but it still never hit me like if I really put down $150. Like, and so it's probably something to that, like you said, adjustment of new currency and stuff, but kind of help me understand what really would be that big fly y'all seeing. I see y'all laughing. Yeah. Kind of help me understand what are all these benefits? What is it for? What are we jumping on board with? What is possible we can do with having it? What is the decentralizing help with? Like, talk to me through that if y'all don't mind.
Katie?
Okay, well, I had an idea when you were talking, and it reminds me of how I was actually taking one of Michael's courses about financial freedom. And one of the points that he made was that, we often get financial freedom and financial flexibility mixed up. That, freedom is an inside job, but that our money, or the way that we act with money, can help to bring about a newer level of flexibility. And what I really like about cryptocurrency is it feels flexible. Like, it feels like it has been designed to put the power back into the owner's domain, and to give us more options. Like, we're looking at a proposed future where the Fed creates a coin that's programmable money, where they can tell you what you can or can't use it for. I don't know that this will necessarily happen, but as I'm going through all of these different, as my ears to the ground on a lot of different financial news, like, when I hear about that doesn't feel very flexible to me. But what feels very flexible is, being able to choose from a menu of cryptocurrencies that all have, different capabilities. And I like what you mentioned about the foreign exchange sort of aspect of it. And there's actually a crypto company out there called the Terra Luna Network that Anar and I are quite big fans of. But they're making synthetic, like they create through Terra Luna, there's a synthetic sort of mirror of every currency in the world, which is super, super cool because, and this might be getting like a little technical, so I will bring it back. But just what's possible through that is that, exchanging money becomes very simple. And through cryptocurrency, one of the things that's so beautiful about it is the fees are extremely low. So even when you go to exchange money from one country to another, you pay a fee for that. And that fee sometimes is quite substantial. And then if you don't spend all that money when you're away, you've got to take it back and exchange it back into your currency. And then you pay a second time, So crypto also, because a lot of it is peer-to-peer on the system of nodes, it does cut down a lot of the extra expenses that you're paying around fees. And it does give you a lot more flexibility depending on which cryptos you want to interact with through their additional use cases, to be able to actually invest in something that's right for how you want to use it, instead of just having to prescribe to the traditional banking system that's kind of like our way or the highway. Does that make sense, or did I just create more questions?
Well, if you did, we're going to answer them. So I'm cool with more questions. But I like
Cool.
that. I like that way that you're talking about that, because you're right. It's, again, every time I would go to a different country, it was something about the exchange, and then you end up counting that in. What's the rate change per day? So what I had was $1,000 that was enough for me, but now the rate has changed. Now I got to go it's just been a mess when trying to do all of those, which is why I usually use a credit card when going places. But Jenny has a question as well, and then I'll get into kind of like I want to talk about the ledger, or where is my safety going to be? Because the term volatile floats a lot with cryptocurrency. So where is my safety going to be if I choose to take my hard-earned, what I understand now is cash from retirements, and that's setting me up for my life, and I want to put it in Bitcoin? Where's my safety? Where is my trust in the system is going to come from? Or can one of you speak to that? And then Jenny, I'll come right on with your question.
Sure. You know, if you've for beginners, I would say, you know, play around with online hard wallets, such as, you know, the Terra Station that has its own wallet. Every cryptocurrency usually has its own wallet. And when it comes to cold wallets like ledgers and USB sticks and things like that, I think those are the most safest and advanced wallets you can ever have. It's on you. You know how much is in there. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can access it. There's no way, it may be a form of digital currency, but nobody can touch into your wallet through the internet without you connecting it to the internet. So your money is always safe. So compare that to a bank account where you've got tellers having access to your wallet, tellers having your personal information and knowing exactly how much you make by the minute, what's being transacted. This cold wallet is only for you and your eyes only. And, you know, if you want to share it with your wife, or, you know, you got divorce papers to pay, transfer that Bitcoin into some cash and pay it off, you know, but nobody will know because it's your wallet, it's on you, and you decide what to do with it. So my advice always to people is always invest in a good cold wallet or a ledger wallet.
Lady, where's my safety at for Bitcoin, or not
Yeah,
even
okay.
Bitcoin?
Well,
Where's my safety? Yeah.
That's a good, so to speak to the volatility part, you're right that cryptocurrencies can be quite volatile. You know, one day you could look in Bitcoin could be at $65,000 for one Bitcoin. And a week later it could be at 30,000. Like, this is something that we have seen just in the last 6 months. What my, you know, advice would be to someone that's looking to get into cryptocurrency is, like Anar said, there are these things called test nets where you can set up a wallet and you can go to the test net and get them to send you pretend crypto, and you can start to kind of invest with it. It's not real, it will never be real, but you can start to put it places and see what would have happened if you had, you know, gone that route. The other thing I think, which is really important, like even in the course that we offer, we don't teach people how to set up a wallet and transfer money into their wallet until like week 6, because there is something about just warming up to crypto. Like, if you're looking for just somewhere to throw some money, never look at it again, and come back, you know, 20 years later and hope that something's happened, I mean, you can do that, but honestly, it's not very responsible. It would be lovely for you to just interact with it, watch the charts, start to read some articles, get a sense if it feels like it's for you. Because I'm really a strong believer that abundance comes to us through things that we put our attention and our focus on, that feel exciting to us, that we get that sense of energy back from. So if Bitcoin just sounds really scary and intimidating, chances are you're not going to pay attention to it. You might put some money in there, forget about it. Traditionally, Bitcoin has grown and grown and grown, even though it has had ups and downs with the market. If you've held Bitcoin for over 4 years, most people that have held Bitcoin consistently for 4 years have exponentially increased their wealth. But we can't promise that, you know, and as adoption, so Bitcoin is a very secure store of value. But if you're looking to kind of put your money into something a bit more stable, within cryptocurrency, there is something called stable coins. And those coins are pegged to something that exists in the outer world. So for instance, there's a token on the Terra Luna network called UST, and it mirrors the US dollar. But how it differs from the US dollar is it is actually backed by assets. So every UST token that exists is backed by, and I'll get Anar to fill us in, it's either by a real I think that Terra is actually backing their crypto with actual Bitcoins as well as with US dollars. So you can rest assured that that's not just money printing, that whatever UST token you have, somewhere in a vault, there is an actual physical asset to back it up. So that is a very secure way of having your money in the cryptoverse, because those tokens are tethered to the price of the US dollar. So they don't go up and down in value. They're worth whatever the US dollar is worth. And so, of course, there is some risk in that, because there is risk in the value of currencies. But if it's just sitting in your bank losing interest, how different is it than, like, you have to ask yourself, does that feel more or less secure than investing it in a stable coin in the cryptocurrency world, if that's where your values lie? And if that is the case, once it's invested there, there are ways to take that stable coin and grow it in a somewhat less volatile way. So there are different protocols out there, which of course you'd have to do your own research on, things like Anchor Earn, that give you 20% APY on your dollar over the course of a year. So there's very exciting products within crypto, even if you don't want to mess with the volatility of actually buying a token that goes up and down with the market.
Oh, wow. Okay. I have a chat question, and then, but I'm gonna go with JV. Go, Jenny, and then I'll ask my chat question right after that.
Can everybody hear me? I'm driving.
Yes.
Oh, we missed.
Hi.
We don't get to see the smile. Are you kidding me? Really? Okay.
Well, I actually just pulled up, but so I've actually been investing in crypto since January, and it's so much fun. To me, it's like going to Vegas, but like the odds are much better, because everything to me is on sale right now because the market is down. I actually have a couple questions, but one question is, I always hear, Bitcoin is almost all mined, like it's mined, mined, meaning like MINED. When do you think all of Bitcoin will be mined? And then what does that mean once it is all mined? Then there's no new Bitcoin to be found, but we're all just exchanging what's there. Does that make sense, my question?
Yeah, it's a great question. And
Very
just,
much
I'll
so.
get Anar to answer it, but I just want to let people know, like, one Bitcoin right now is probably worth about $40,000 US. So you don't have to buy one Bitcoin. You can buy like the tiniest amount of Bitcoin, like you buy 0.0001 Bitcoin. So don't be intimidated if you're like, oh, I'll never buy a Bitcoin, it's way too much money. And then I'll let Anar speak to the mining, to like the schedule to which all the Bitcoins will be mined and all that stuff.
Yeah. So yes, Bitcoin is a proof of work. That's a little more technical. I won't get into that right now. Maybe through the course, I can explain that a little better to you all. But it's a proof of work coin, which means you can't make more of it. There's a cap on it. And there's only 21 million Bitcoin out there in the world. That's where Satoshi was like, I'm going to create 21 million coins, and that's it. So you've got to see that this creates value and scarcity, just like gold. There's not enough gold out there in the world. And every 4 years is a cycle of mining where they split the coins into fractions every 4 years. That's why every 4 years you'll hear the cryptoverse going crazy. The bull runs here, it's green everywhere, because people want to own that split and fraction. So when that happens and mining continues, the mining itself and the creation of Bitcoin will stop, but the fraction amounts being split and refracted is never going to stop. That is hard. Like, there's always going to be an exchange of Bitcoin. Every single person in this world if wanting to, can own Bitcoin. So, don't be scared or worried about the mining stopping and there'll be an end cap to Bitcoin, because that's a good thing. That means that there's more value created in that coin for you to own. And there's more reason for you to even want to own a 0.001% of it. And then through that, value is still going to keep going up. So your $1 into Bitcoin will always turn into $10, $100, $100,000.
Because of the value of it growing. And I won't have to worry about it once it's mined, because that's all that can be made in. There won't be any deflating, in a sense, because there is no more, correct?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because they only put out so many Jordans per year, and if you don't get them, yeah, I understand it in George, you know. It's, but I have a question in the chat that I want to ask. But a quick story was my tattoo artist when I moved to Los Angeles. Grandmother died, and when he went to her funeral, she had left him about $25,000. And the next person he tattooed when he came back to Los Angeles was John McAfee. And so John McAfee got him to put that 25 in a coin. Long story short, I don't have a tattoo artist anymore. He no longer tattoos. He moved from California. He bought an estate that is so huge in North Carolina. He collects cars now, and he basically goes around and set up small tattoo shops for people who've got out of the system, who can't get the permits or whatever because they have criminal activity on their record. He goes and buys them shops and stuff and centers and set them up for work because that's how he got into tattooing. But I just thought about that was another story of cryptocurrency doing something to make a change for somebody. So the chat question was, would you say exchanging cryptos on a wallet is more efficient than waiting the asset to keep fluctuating within the same crypto? So it sounds more like a day trade versus hold it out type question.
Yeah, is that Paula's question?
Mm-hmm.
Paula, can you come on and just explain your question? Because I kind of think I know what you mean, but I just want you to clarify.
Yeah, I wanted to ask whether you understand my question. Like you were saying, and I agree, like when you put attention to something, it creates more abundance and things like that. But what does it actually mean? Like you mean, because we were talking about the fluctuation in the market and we know that it fluctuates a lot. I just want to know, and I was thinking to myself, like, is it more profitable if I interchange cryptos? Like if I go to exchange, like I go on into my wallet and exchange cryptos and keep them moving, or just keep on waiting on the same crypto to grow or to expand depending on the, I don't know, on the market.
I totally understand your question. So
I don't know if my question is clear.
No, it makes sense to me, and I'll tell you what the simple answer is that you simply can't. One is not necessarily better than the other. Some people are what we call in the industry hodlers. They hold on for dear life, so they buy a token and they hold it. And other people are traders or paper hands, where they're constantly switching out their tokens for different tokens to try to make a little bit of money in the spread. Ultimately, you kind of have to figure out what feels best for you. If you are looking for more passive income and you don't want to be watching the charts all of the time, then you would create a strategy for crypto that is more aligned with tokens that you believe after doing your fundamental research, which fundamental research really means that you're going in and you're reading the company website, you're going onto all their social media, you're learning information about the company, and you're going, I believe in this company long term. I know their token might go up and down, but I'm going to hold on to it because in 5 years from now, I believe that it's going to be worth 300 times more than what it's worth now. Right? The opposite side of that would be a technical analysis, somebody that's really involved in technical analysis. They don't care what the company is up to. They care about the historical data in the charts alone. So they'll take a look at the chart and say, this chart is strong, or what we would call bullish, or this chart is weak and it looks bearish. I'm going to buy it because it looks bullish, but I'm going to make sure I mitigate my risk. If it goes too low, I'll sell. If it goes high, I'll take my profits. So, but most traders have some sort of a lovely, or most crypto people have some sort of a lovely mix in between the two. They might do a little day trading, but they have tokens they're holding on to long term. And I would say that follow the passion, like if you get up excited every day to look at the charts and you want to learn and you're like, this is fun for me, then maybe trading is going to be great for you because there's an interest there. If you buy a bunch of volatile tokens, but you're not interested in looking at the charts or learning about them, chances are you're going to turn away, you're going to send your energy somewhere else in the world, and they might just wither away and die, or they could, exponentially grow. But I would just say, you need to create a strategy for crypto that feels aligned with how you want to show up and interact with it. And that's going to be the winning combination. And that's going to change for everybody. And it's even going to change for you within your own, the time that you spend being in the crypto world.
Love that. And Lou just posted some, which again plays into the way we view this. So 252, one Bitcoin was 41,000. Is that $178? Lou, look at that. Okay. And
Yeah,
it went
there's
up
extra zero in there.
yeah, okay, it went up $20 while he was writing it. And then I asked him to check, which is now 257, and it looks like we've lost a little. And so again, I think that's what scares people. But can you just speak to what is that little blip? What is that within a few minutes of us explaining it? It's already changed. What is happening in the system for that?
Yeah, Eleanor, I'll let you explain.
Yeah, you can compare that to the stock markets on Wall Street. Numbers will keep going up. Your penny stocks will keep going up, keep going down. Apple stocks keep going up, keep going down. That's just day traders trading the coin itself. You know, it's nothing crazy going on. It's just people trading, like taking it back to what Katie said. I always advise people to treat cryptocurrency and integrate it into their lifestyle as they live with their daily routine. If you're a busy person, you don't have time to day trade, don't do it. Hodl. That's how you're built. That's how you're supposed to be holding it. So another thing I want to outline is cryptocurrency it's so accommodating for you to make money, whether you want to be a day trader, whether you want to hodl. It's a very accommodating industry. So just be mindful of having mind over matter and conviction as to which strategy is best for you and your lifestyle and your mental health.
I love that. Supply and demand is what Lou said causes that thing to go. So I love how you all are painting, and I knew you would do this, such a nice picture for it. And I hate to be the one that keep bringing the questions of fear and anxiety, but I know that's what stops most people from walking through the door. What, I don't even know how to shape the question. What do I do if I make a mistake in sending money to someone in a coin?
Don't do that.
Okay.
So
because it is decentralized.
It's decentralized.
It
yeah.
is So talk to me about a few of the things I need to be aware of, because I'm coming from a centralized system. Some things I need to be aware of, or mistakes that I can make on this side that would be costly on a decentralized side.
Fair enough. I guess if I was to start right from the beginning, I would say, just really listen to some podcasts about crypto. Like there's so many different things out there, like there's people that are really technical. There's people that take a lot of spirituality and marry it with crypto, but just put yourself in the flow of it for a while to see if it excites you enough to take on the responsibility of putting your finances into your own hands. Because you might realize after a couple of weeks of interacting with it that the anxiety is way higher than the excitement, and maybe it's just not for you. And that's okay. I do believe that cryptocurrency will play a bigger and bigger role in our society, and that there will be more opportunities to get into it. But as everyone knows, if we all got into Bitcoin, 10 years ago, we'd all be extremely wealthy right now. So there is money to be made, but there's also plenty of money to be lost if you're not aware and conscious of what you're investing into and how you're sending your tokens. So basically, when you open a wallet, and Nar had kind of mentioned this, is like with a hard wallet, you get something called a key, which is a series of words that you can write down, but you should also really memorize them. It's kind of tricky because they're completely randomized, but you get a private key, you get a seed phrase, and you get a public wallet key. And your public wallet key is what you use to share with other people that wanted to send money back and forth to you. And if you are sending money and you make a mistake in the way that you write that key out, your cryptocurrency can get lost in the web, never to be recovered again. So it's not like at the bank, if you accidentally send, like make a mistype in when you're sending your e-transfer, and then you just call the bank and you're like, get my money back. They figure it out, right? With crypto, you just have to double and triple check some things. And I found it very intimidating when I first started, but I just went and I read through my address. I checked it 3 times. Another thing we encourage people to do is sometimes send the smallest amount you can, because fees in crypto are quite low. The fee might be $1 to make a transfer, or even less than $1. So send $2 worth of crypto, see if they arrive. If they arrive, you're like, great, let's do it again.
Here, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so there are ways that you learn to mitigate your risks by just really amping up your sense of responsibility, but it does have to be something that you want to do, you know. And as you get more comfortable with it, it feels less scary, you know, it feels less risky. Anar, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, this is this part of the industry where people are onboarding themselves into crypto and they're making losses really hurts my heart. And it's, you know, because I've been through it plenty of times. I've lost a lot of money, you know, doing this. And that's why it was so important for me to educate people with Katie. And the aspect of why we're building this course is because, you know, finance isn't easy, you know, it's not something we were taught in school. And forget just traditional finance, but learning a whole new industry of finance, it's not something you just jump into. It's something you have to educate yourself, whether it's risk management, whether it's the technicals, or, you know, just the structure of financially how I'm supposed to be dealing with all this. You know, it's a heavy responsibility. So to go into something like this unequipped, it's guaranteed to create some losses, and that's not a good feeling. So we've done our best to tailor this course around individuals and helping them understand how to save themselves from such, you know, risks and mitigate any kind of liabilities like that.
Yeah, I like that. And I'm just going to convert it into security terms, which I understand very easy. The gate and the cameras at my house are do it yourself, because I worked in security for 20 some years. There's a few spots there, like I could have done it, you know, but I'm fully responsible for it. So it's more of a response. It's a difference than if I just bring ADT in to set up the cameras and put it like, yeah. But I'm starting to learn by doing it myself. Like, oh, I should have probably put that here. Oh, I should have probably put that here. Oh, I should move that camera all the way over here. It's something to when you're learning to do something for yourself that someone else has been doing for so long. And I didn't even know how much the bank was doing in my understanding of finances until I chose to start looking at ways to handle it more myself. You know, I really had to look at, whoa, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Jump in.
Can I just interrupt you there for a second? Just a little scope. The banks made 12 billion this year just from credit card fees. So let me know.
Wait. Start over. Say that again so it's clear on the recording. 12 billion of just credit card fees.
From your credit card fees they made. So let me know if do it yourself saves you money.
Wow.
Yes.
12 billion of credit card fees. And that's the fee to use my credit card. The exchange, like when I swipe it, there's a percentage that everywhere I swipe has to be paid. That's what you mean as far as, wow, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. So, you know, not to take away from, you know, banks or anything, but doing it yourself sometimes it's very healthy for your consciousness. Yeah. And also, you know, helps you understand and grow in an industry better and understand the industry better too.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot because I get mad at PayPal sometimes. I charge the same thing for courses, and the payments all come in at different because this transaction fee for that country and this, and I was like, how did I charge the same thing for the course but got paid? I think 4 different from 159 course. I had like 4 different groups of what I got after the fees were done. Some were $2 fees, $7 fees, $5 fees. It was like, who makes that up? You know, so I love this. What else? Anybody else? Any more questions? Anything else? I'm gonna look at the list that I had, but I love what we're doing. Oh, yes, that's one. Oh, I'll let you go first, cuz. Go ahead, Ron.
Hey, as a novice person like me and Jasmine, where should we start in the cryptocurrency or investing in it? Like, how much should we take and just start with it?
I knew nobody
Yeah.
wanted that question.
No, I mean,
Yes,
I'm
knew
gonna,
nobody.
I'm
You're
gonna
not
give
finna
you.
get me to telling you what you need to do so you can. But
I'm
but
gonna
go.
give you an answer that you don't like because you won't like because I won't give you a number. But that was one of the things that I wanted to know when I first got into it. I'm like, well, how much do I have to put in so that I can actually get like a good amount out? Like if I want $1 million, how much do I have to put in now so that I can get to $1 million, right? Like I just wanted someone to just tell me what to do. But nobody will do that because that would be financial advice and no one wants to be on the hook if they're like, oh, there's this guy, Michael Saylor, he tells everyone to sell their house and take all the money and put it into Bitcoin. Like he might be right, but like, I'm not going to say that. So what I would recommend to you is, get comfortable with the world of crypto, get to the point where you feel like it's a trustworthy place to put some of your money, and choose an amount that you feel comfortable with, based on your overall picture of your equity, but also be realistic about what your expectations are. So say you're looking at investing in Bitcoin, a realistic expectation for Bitcoin over a year might be to 2 times your money. Right. So if you're like possibly, but that's not a promise, right? Because it's volatile. So you kind of have to choose an investment that's in line with, and if you think, well, if I'm going to put this money into cryptocurrency and it's only going to double, maybe that's not enough for me and I'm not that interested in doing that. Right. So it's, I feel like what would be better is rather than to choose an amount that would be kind of the golden amount, my suggestion would be to spend some time kind of researching and getting to know the industry and what the different products are within the industry so that you can decide which one is going to offer you the type of return that you are excited about. And I know, I don't know if it's Jenny, if I pronounce it that way, but you had mentioned that it sometimes feels like gambling and that's kind of fun. There are definitely tokens out there within the crypto world that are very much like gambling because you can make a lot of money really quickly with them and you can also lose your money really quickly with them. So some people have made a fortune by just getting really lucky with how they play those tokens. We don't tend to cover them too much in the content that we do because just like the casino, most people lose. Or at least more people than, more people lose than the casino wins. So there are tons of different strategies. Like, honestly, the best advice I would give you is come take our course and you will get a very quick understanding of whether or not it's something that you want to invest in and what sort of amount would feel comfortable to you to be able to reach the financial goals that you have in mind. Anar, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I would say, personally, I wouldn't, if I could rewind time, I wouldn't invest into cryptocurrency until I felt comfortable within myself and my intuition and my gut was telling me, okay, I understand exactly what this is that I'm investing into. And if you don't know what it is that you're investing into, then I'd say don't invest until you've learned. And the internet is a plethora of education, and again, cryptocurrency is an industry where it's oversaturated with so much information. And what our course does is we try to break that down from A to Z, and really help people adopt to it at a beginner's level. And it's a very interactive way of educating. We're not going the traditional route at all. It's just like this. It's a comfortable conversation, and we try and provide answers to all the questions as easily and possible as we can.
With that being said, I think this is a good place for you all to say how you can get to join the course, sign up for it, for even those who are listening on the recording. Where do I find this amazing crypto course that y'all are putting out?
Maybe if I unmute, that would be good. So we're currently running a course now, and our next one is starting. It's going to start in the beginning of April. It's going to run for 8 weeks. We do it live on Thursday evenings. So it gives participants a chance to come for an hour and a half. We go through the lesson materials, and then we really open it up for interactive learning where you can ask questions. We really can help you walk through the specifics of what you want to create with crypto, how you want to build and incorporate it. We run through a bit of the history of, what is central banking? What is the Federal Reserve, to just give a bit of a baseline. Then we really go into the history of Bitcoin. We talked about Satoshi, how Bitcoin came to be as this sort of counter revolutionary movement to, this massive failure of the banking system. And then, really what all these different cryptocurrencies, these top cryptocurrencies, what space they open up for, but really integrating in that conversation around what feels aligned for you. What are you feeling called towards when it comes to the space of crypto? And then from there, we teach a little bit about fundamentals. We teach a bit about technical analysis. We try to give you just the basic foundations for everything you need to know to be able to then wade through the craziness of the internet. I feel like after our course, if you had a question, you could search it on YouTube and find a video that spoke to you about it, that answered your question. I know for people that are absolute beginners going into YouTube, sometimes you get some crazy person that's telling you to buy this or that. We really have a segment in our course about security. So we teach you how to stay safe against scammers who try to contact you and get your personal information, how to, transfer like you said, transfer your crypto, what you need to double check to make sure you don't lose something. We talk about the difference between the centralized and the decentralized system. And finally, we wrap it up with a session all about helping you to design your strategy. And maybe your strategy is, I need to go and learn for another 6 months before I invest. Or maybe your strategy is, I'm ready to invest now. How do I do it in a way that's totally decentralized? I want to invest now, but I still believe in the big banks and I want to keep everything on a centralized thing because I'm not willing to take whatever, right? Like, we're just going to set you up with the information to make your own informed choice. So that's Thursdays, runs for 8 weeks. We do it, I think we're going to do it at like 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. So it's definitely a little better for those on the West Coast time-wise. And all the sessions are recorded. So if you can't make the time, you can catch up with the video. So I will put a link here into the chat. Right now, we've got a page for it on my website. So it's katiewebster.ca/crypto. I'll pop it into the chat, but I'll say it again for the recording, katiewebster.ca/crypto.
And the link will be on the replay email. I'll make sure.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll make sure it's on the replay
Yeah.
email so they could just click. We have a question up, and I have another one, of course. JV, you up? Beautiful.
Me again. Can you speak to, I had my my Roth IRA money that for last year that I need to invest, and I was going to give it over to my money guy for the stock market. But then I started hearing these things about Roth IRAs in crypto. And I found this one called I Trust Capital. Can you speak to a little bit about that? And do you feel that that's a good thing to start kind of moving money that we would put in for our retirement fund into a cryptocurrency Roth IRA?
This is definitely a very new, it's a new criteria into the cryptocurrency industry, and I haven't specifically looked into it yet because it's so new. I would need to look into the smart contract coding behind it to see how safe it is, or how volatile it is, or how much adoption it has. But my personal stance on this right now is not financial advice, but what I would say is, if it's your retirement money, it's something you should think probably 10 times over. I would consider putting it into something so new. I would really reconsider and consider that over and over again, and just make sure you do your education into it and see if it's stable enough. You know, you want stability when it comes to things like your retirement. It's not something you want to take a huge risk with. So if you can put it into an area of the cryptocurrency world where it's stable, that's something I would advocate for. But if it's something that's a nuance and hasn't, like, I personally haven't really heard much about it or into it, it probably is a new regime that's come in. I would reconsider and consider twice, maybe get some second opinions, third opinions, until it's got an adoption and you're fully comfortable with it.
Okay. So it's that new. From you guys.
I've been in the industry and I've been, I'm always up to date, and I haven't really had any, this is actually the first time I'm hearing of it. So my personal intuition and the only advice I can offer you right now is just be very careful and do as much education as you can, and weigh your pros and cons to it.
Cool. Yeah, it's actually, check it out. It seems really great.
Yeah, this is why I love this, because I'm learning something new as well. I'm like, oh, okay. I'd love to check it out.
Yeah.
What
Okay, cool.
What
Awesome.
I love about what you all are saying is, I'm sorry to cut you off, JV, but what I love about what you all are saying is the education you're requiring each person to go take within themselves about the choices they want to make with their money. And again, always bringing it back to the things that I teach. I teach self-awareness for people, which I used to call self-defense. And it was something to women waking up to being able to say no when I would grab them, or get your hands off me. It took them time to kind of get comfortable screaming that with me, because it wasn't normally how they move. And I'm starting to learn, when dealing with crypto, I just give the bank. I never even ask any questions. I just automatically assume they're going to do it right. I just noticed that when you all are talking, like, man, I didn't even do my research on the bank I currently have. It was, I walked in the grocery store and they said, we give you $100 to open a checking account. Next thing I knew, I'd have moved every piece of money I had over there for $100, and it's something to this you're saying about really researching and being comfortable. But the stock market, right? Would I be comparing cryptocurrency as its entity more to banks or more to a stock market? Because one of the examples you said earlier was there are some smaller coins I could probably learn with, which I know there are some coins that don't even cost $1 to buy a whole coin. You actually can get it for cents. And then if it was so happened to get a value of over $1, then maybe you make some money. But is cryptocurrency more like the bank or more like the stock market?
Anar, you go for this one first, and then I'll chime in.
This excites me because I am currently working for a company that creates protocols, aka banks. So what we're doing is we're bringing banks to the blockchain. Currently, as of right now, I would compare the cryptocurrency industry to the stock market, just because right now we have different ecosystems. So, Bitcoin is an ecosystem, Ethereum is an ecosystem, and they have their own utility. So, they're building ecosystems for people to build on. And that third layer of people building is where people like me and developers and other companies are coming in to build banks, exchanges, and such things. So we are definitely moving in the direction of becoming banks, and not only just decentralized banks, but banks that will give people a lot more freedom through smart contracts. So again, trustless. There's no middlemaning. There's no one telling you you're going to have to wait 5 days for that money to come through to your account, which I love. So we are moving, and the industry is growing rapidly in terms of innovation. It's from moving away from the stock market and supply and demand, and turning into a place of safety and of holding, and being able to open a checkings account or a savings account under the crypto world. So that's very interesting, and it's a very new field to learn. I'm still learning. It's still being created. It's a lot of problem solving, And I really have faith in where this is going.
Katie, would you say the pandemic has helped or hurt cryptocurrency? Because it seems like we've gotten a douse of being digital and virtual now. That was an abrupt change for everybody to accept very quickly. So would you say it's been a help or a hurt?
It has definitely helped, because like on many levels, aside from the world going into a much more so we've become more decentralized through it, like we've and for better or worse, there's been people needing to find new and innovative ways to connect when they haven't been able to be together in the same sort of traditional ways. And I'm trying to be so careful to not insert my opinion here. But like, I guess what we saw Bitcoin just skyrocket through these times, because people started to look, that started to get curious about what else is there and what else is possible. And I think it definitely opened up a space for more adoption. And people need to understand something before they can feel comfortable investing in it. And that, I think it's almost like a tea steeping kind of a process. Like once you learn about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, unless you're just very like gregarious, you're probably going to think about it, wait to see if a few other people mention it, watch a few videos. There's a bit of an adoption period. And the beautiful thing about cryptocurrency is that for people like Anar and I, we're passionate about it. We believe it's the future. We believe it's a beautiful, fruitful future that puts, the sovereignty back into the hands of the people. And so we're excited to share it with others, but we also know that the only way that it will really genuinely be impactful is if more people adopt it and have confidence in it and start to use it. And sometimes I like to compare it to, before the internet existed, if someone tried to explain to you what the internet was, it doesn't really matter what they'd say. You would just be like, what? Like there's a box in your house and then magic, like stuff just comes through the air and goes into the box and you see pictures. Like it just, I know we had television, but like, it's just the way that the internet worked didn't make sense to anyone until it just did. It's like an insight. Then it just does, you just get it. Even if you don't know the technicality of how it works, it just becomes something that is a part of your life and makes sense, and I think Bitcoin specifically and crypto had really a lot of mass adoption through the last few years, because people had a lot more time too to kind of like get curious about it maybe. And there's a lot of factors involved as inflation was rising, as there was different things happening in our world, and some of the maybe not so pretty parts of our banking system were getting more exposed through the ways that governments can manipulate the money supply, or through the banking system. I think it made people get a little curious about what could the alternative to this be. And so we see adoption happen in those times, and it's very exciting.
I love that. So we want to be mindful of time. JV, you have your hand up. I don't know if that's from last time and I didn't lower it, or is there a question?
No, that was from last time.
Okay, all right. Sorry about it.
Oh, and I got to jump off, but thank you so much. This was so wonderful, and I'll definitely check out your course. And thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you.
So JV did my website. That's how.
Okay, I realized you were calling her JV, and I was like, is her name Jenny?
Yeah, it's Jenny.
Yeah.
Like, I just call it JV. Just me being silly. Yeah.
Nice.
But go ahead, cousin. You have one more. We'll do this as the last question, then I'll let you all kind of tie it all up in the end for everybody again. And I'll have all the information again about the course on the replay and stuff. So you don't have to take your time on that. So we'll do your question, cuz, and then y'all end us out.
Yeah, I just want to ask about the course. Is it ran annually? After this spring course, will you run another course, or how does that run?
Our plan is to run it again, possibly we haven't really got there yet, but I think we're going to run it consistently. So once one is done, then we'll start another one. So if the April date is still feels a little too soon for you, we may do one in June. We may take a little break over the summer and then commence in the fall, but there'll never be a huge gap. It's really something that we're passionate about growing and building up. So I believe that some form of the course will exist. Hopefully, yeah, within into perpetuity.
Okay. Yeah, and I was asking because I just have a lot going on that I'll be doing in between that time of April and May that I may miss some courses, and I don't want to miss. I want to actually be there live, so just want to make sure my time is available for those dates that you're gonna be offering. So
yeah, if you go onto the website, there's a button that says hold my spot. If you just send an email and then say you're interested in a future course, we'll make sure that we reach out to you and let you know the schedule for the next one, and so we can hold your spot there, because we do want to make it a small group, right? We do want to limit the number of people so that we can really give everyone a hands-on experience, because we know that you can just go to YouTube and watch videos and self-teach yourself if you really wanted to. So we want to offer something that is going to be much above and beyond that, where you get to really interact and feel like, your specific questions and the development of your specific strategy is going to be paramount.
Thank you. So before y'all go into closing statements, I do want to say I will be doing this again. 2 other Web3 advocate and a global economic teacher, facilitator, I think is what he was called. He's been brought in to do various like strategic and money and large corporations like Coca-Cola and things like that. Trinity Incube and then Caleb Ferguson are both their names. They've both confirmed with me they want to do one as well. So we will be doing this talk again. So it'll be 2 different voices, but again, pointing to the same thing, so you can kind of get more and more secure with your feelings, or more aware with your feelings about how to handle and what you want to do with cryptocurrency. So please stay tuned for that as well. And ladies, y'all can close us out. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here and doing this with us, for everybody, and sharing about cryptocurrency. But I turn it over to you to send us out.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciated being able to voice my opinions, and thank you for hosting such a wonderful platform, Rob. I wish you all the best, and if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Katie or Katie or me, and we'll have them answered.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's this is something that we're so passionate about. So I know I can speak for Anar and to say that we just get so excited to be able to have this time to speak to anyone who's curious. And I think curiosity is really the minimum thing that you need to get involved in cryptocurrency. If you're curious and you're feeling a pull towards it, there's something there for you to explore. And who knows where it will take you next. But we're super happy to help be your facilitators on this journey in whatever way we can. So, we are passionate about this, whether you take our course or not. If you have a simple question, always feel like you can reach out to us. We'll do our very best to support you. And we're just excited for, this beautiful decentralized world that, we've painted for you here today. So come and join us.
Thank you so much for being here. So if you are listening to the recording, like I said, all the links will be there for you. Stay tuned for another one coming up. But again, I love you all and have the day you deserve.